go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Urbana Free Library on this December 12th, 2023. Before we do the roll call, real quick, we do have one dialing in due to an acceptable extenuating circumstance. An acceptable extenuating circumstance. Thank you. Rob to the rescue right there. Just to make sure everyone is aware of that and on board with that. Does anyone have issues with calling? Hearing none? All right. We'll go to the roll call.
Okay, Sharice.
Oh,
Hi.
here.
Beth.
Here.
Daniel.
Here.
Ron.
Here.
Brandon.
Here.
Okay, and we're missing.
Who's here?
Yeah.
All the folks.
Oh, I'm sorry, Liz.
Here, sort of.
Okay, and we're missing Glenn and Erica and Mark.
Any additions, corrections, or modifications to the agenda?
I have two. I would like to move item number 6.2E and make it item 6.2A. And then I would also like to omit item number 9.0 and defer that one until the January meeting.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Or are we- That's your motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Who
opposed?
seconded that? I'm sorry, Rob?
Rob. Sorry.
That's okay.
We're moving on. Any opposed? Not hearing any? We will make those modifications. Agenda is approved. Is there any public comment? All right. Hearing none, then we will go directly to our presentations. First up, we have Leon with the draft technology plan.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Leon Wilson, IT manager again. I am very, very excited. This past year, 23, we've been busy doing a whole lot of things. I'm very proud of my staff, proud of my tech committee, and proud of myself. It's been
Don't
busy.
forget to add that. All right.
Excuse me, my notes are on my phone, so please excuse that action. Tech Plan 2024, some of the things that we are planning for next year. But before that, let's talk about last year. Well, 23, it's too early to say last year, right? Some things I want to highlight is leveraging, expanding, and connecting. For example, one of the things of last year's goals was to leverage our current equipment to do more. With the addition of Patron Point, we are now able to use our OPACs, which are catalog machines, to do more. So now people can come in and get their own library card by themselves. We try to get the most use out of every penny we got in our computers. Next is expanding. Last year, we got a donation from the foundation for some high-performance computers. We are getting more out of them. This year, we added 3D modeling software to Blender and some more tech stuff so people come in and can create, so they can express themselves. The last thing is connecting. The biggest thing for me this year is more leverage and more usability of Office 365. We are using more cloud software than we did last year and before. And it helps connect staff with each other. If I'm at home with my new baby trying to get things done, or somebody's on site trying to get things done. And those are the highlights I want to point out this time. Well, new 3 pillars of the new strategic plan. And we have to rearrange some things and align with our new goals and new plans. Now, I don't like reading words because we all can read, but I do want to highlight some of the things that we are excited to do and are high up on the to-do list. Activity number 3, enhancing MFA, multi-factor authentication. One of the goals of next year is to purchase licenses for Duo. This will allow us to authenticate each staff individually. Right now, our Wi-Fi is secure because we have a password, but we have to share it. That's not a good thing. We should be doing that. Programs like Duo will allow us to authenticate with our Active Directory so we can more securely connect to our resources, and also we can more securely track when things do happen, where it happened, when it happened. Another thing I want to highlight is our voice over IP. Gotta get it done. I don't know if you remember my last presentation with the timeline. I'm a month behind now because I have a newborn and things kind of got away. But we are nearing the finish line to go out for bids. That's the to-do now today. For embracing, the two things I want to point out are activity 3 and 4. Add technology to our study rooms. A lot of people sign up for our study rooms every day to do meetings, to play video games, and do other things. And we have plans to add technology to the rooms, particularly what we call social spas or something similar to that. That allows us to take the whiteboard out, put a TV screen, and people can catch from their phones, from their computers at the same time and collaborate. And it makes the space more usable for our growing technology needs and our younger kids that know more than I know already. The second thing is our online events for children particularly. Right now we have a lot of presence online to host events and stuff like that. I want to make it easier and better. Specialized cameras to capture the moment better microphone system to get the audio better so people can feel more at home here without at home there. Lastly is empowerment. What I really want to do this year is increase our internet speeds here. Right now we have a dual ISP from ICN, which is the State of Illinois internet provider, and right now we have Volo. I'm trying to get our internet upgrade from 1 gig to 10 gigs this year. More bandwidth so more people can use our internet at the same time at high speeds. So those are the things that I'm hoping to get done this year, me and my team. Any questions about the next year tech plan before I move to my next?
So, Lynn, are these in priority order each day? Because you highlighted things that were not necessarily number 1, number 2.
No, they're not.
Okay, all right, great.
No question? Yes, Rob.
Nerd questions. How many high-performance computers do you have? The blender stations and the CC stations?
Right now, 2.
2, and those are on the second floor?
Yes.
Okay. And then I saw the docking stations in the adult rooms.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so we are noticing that a lot of people come in with their own laptops and they want a bigger screen to use. So by using a docking station and replacing them with some of our underused plug-in machines, I'm hoping we can get more engagement in the actual spaces with the docking machine. Give a bigger keyboard and a bigger monitor. The question is, and the investigation I have to do, is security. For example, we know that a shared power bank station is not a very secure thing. I don't know anything about a shared docking station, so I gotta see about that first, and we will move forward with that if it's safe to do. Any more questions? Yes.
A couple of the things that you pointed out, I had previously marked as a question, like the tech for the meeting rooms and the voice over IP.
Yes.
On the document in the packet, it mentioned about like pushing those to next year, and I just wanted to make sure I was like on the
Next
same
year.
understanding of next year, like as in they are going to be in 2024,
Yes.
not that you were pushing them
Yeah, we
after.
pushed it from 23, that's on this year current, pushing to 24, so,
Got it.
yeah.
Just making sure I was on the right page with that.
Preparation. Any more? All right. And I got one more for you all. And my next is about survey community and the standard for Illinois Public Library, Chapter 12 technology. Long story short, we do everything. But I do have some particular things I want us to share with you. 1 second. Actually, it's on the computer. So in the booklet, it's an area with check marks and check off about what we're doing specifically. Yes, we are doing everything, but some things I want to point out to make sure it's understood the seriousness that we are taking with some of these actions. For example, one of the criteria is to keep technology and hardware current. Since I came here, we are now on a 5-year refresh cycle. We just finished our children's library refresh cycle and our adult lab and our archives. Those 3 areas got the newest computers right now with the latest version of Windows 11 and the latest version of CrowdStrike to keep everything safe. When something happens, we react faster. And the other thing I want to point out was our security here. This year we met with the Department of Homeland Security, the Cyber Infrastructure and Security Agency. We had our rep come in and do an assessment for us. I wanted to know where am I not doing well in. He was very, very impressed about how much we are doing and we have got done. Pat my back for that, pat my team back for that. But there's still things that we need to do, such as dual implementation. But I want to point out that the security here, as far as hardware refresh, software mitigation, threat mitigation, the things that they point out particularly, we are doing that wholeheartedly. And I just want to say I'm proud of my team and the library staff who are, Leon, is this an okay email? No, don't open that. So hats off to everybody, and that is this section. Any particular?
I was just going to add the know before stuff.
Yes.
Is very helpful as well. Being on city council, we also do know before. We don't do it like we do it here. And a lot of the, I love the fact that, and I don't log into the library email as much as I probably should. I'm sure I miss a lot of stuff. But this is what I like, is that there's a scam a week or whatever, where the know before people let you know what is happening. And I'm going to be honest, with the knowledge that I've gained from doing those particular lessons or whatever that we're required to do has been very helpful when trying to explain to people, for example, that get FOIAs from the city, why we don't take their thumb drives, why we insist on burning our own CDs or whatever, why we might not necessarily send you a lot of stuff on email, because all of that stuff, it could be a danger to our system.
Yeah.
And they don't, and so sometimes people, they get upset, well, you make me pay $7 for a thumb drive. It's like, well, we can't let you come and just do it here.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work that way, because, and just trying to explain it, but it's given me knowledge so that I can explain that if need be to different people. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? All right, that's my time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks.
Very good.
Dawn, are you doing personnel next?
Yep. Yes, I am. Oh, thank you very much. What about you to advance it?
Up to down. Now to advance it.
Thank you. And of course, I left my notes. There's the wrong thing. Sorry. We're not getting very far if I don't have those. Okay, so I've got 3 chapters tonight. And the first one is, did it not go? There. It did down. There we go. Personnel. So this is my HR hat. And I want to say right off the bat that we do meet the standards, personnel standards for Illinois Public Libraries, and I also would like to just highlight a few things. We are very meticulous about keeping our staff handbook and policies for personnel up to date. We're on a 3-year cycle for updating all of our policies, not just personnel. But the staff handbook, we tend to update every January. And one of the main reasons for that is how active the state of Illinois is in changing employment laws. So we're going to have a couple doozies come in on January 1st. And so we are in the midst of updating the staff handbook and getting it reviewed. And then once those laws come into effect, we will roll out the new staff handbook for staff in January. Something else I wanted to point out, Salaries, fringe benefits are at 68% of the total operations budget for fiscal '24, and the standards recommend that salaries and benefits go up to 70%. So we are right where we need to be as far as that's concerned. And then the last one, staff evaluations, early 2024. We are getting back on track. We have a brand new tool that we're using. That's going to hopefully make it a lot easier for managers, a lot less cumbersome. I guess it was a lot of long form writing before, and this is much more, it has a rubric, and we're using that rubric, which is going to hopefully make it a lot easier, especially for managers who have a lot of staff. Gretchen, I think, is over 20. So yeah, we want to get these done, and we also want to make it not cumbersome. So that is the personnel chapter. Any questions on any of these items? These are just some bullets from the standards themselves, but I wanted to just give you the highlights. This is a new chapter for me this year, access. So we also meet the state access standards for Illinois public libraries. Again, I'd like to highlight just a few things. The current work on our building program is taking a very in-depth look at long-term space needs, which are informed by the strategic plan, and that is something that is encouraged in the standards. You all would have received, I believe, a PDF of a 216-page document for your leisure time reading that we will be going over, and I'll talk a little bit more after this about the building program in depth. And I put some new photos up here. The second to last bullet, allocated space for various ages, shelving and displays scaled for use by children. So that's some of our new furniture down in the children's department, scaled for kids and families, along with the flip book shelving, also scaled for their size. So something we're actively looking at. And then the last one I wanted to point out, signage updates. We do know that the signage around the library needs to be updated. We were on our way, but unfortunately Kirsten, our communications and development manager, is moving on to other opportunities. So we're going to wait on that for a new communications and development manager, but it is still on the plan to get that signage updated. And since we're going in order, I think, Mike, you might be next, and then I'm going to come back and talk about collection management.
Okay. Mike Hannon, I'm the facilities manager, and I'll be talking about building infrastructure maintenance. I don't have a PowerPoint, sorry. You don't have a video or anything like that. I can only sit here and read little notes. As far as the Illinois standards, we are hitting almost all of the most important ones. There's some that we're not. I work part-time, so other things take precedent. In the past year, we've redone the employee parking lot. We remediated Tepper. Been working with the circulation staff on their reorganization. I've been trying to clear out storage room for any other remodels that are coming up in the future. I was able to get Leon a little storage space upstairs for some stuff. Currently, we've got an engineering firm which you approved the contract for the HVAC, or the air handler replacement. And we're adding a split system in his server room. We've had temperature alarms that weren't going to affect the equipment. They weren't high enough, but it went into an alarm, and we're hoping that the split system will eliminate that. We've got a landscape designer engaged. We're having him look at the current landscape outside. He's going to come up with a design plan, and we'll be bringing that for a vote at sometime early next, late winter. We're hoping to bid that out for installation for the spring. And then most of these projects are in the building maintenance fund, although some of them are in the 20 fund? Building improvement, CIP, rather. And then lastly, I finally started on the building master plan. I've got costs for painting and carpet for all the floors thus far. It's a long, involved process. I did it for the city of Champaign. It took a couple of years. When it's all said and done, we'll have schedules for replacement of various equipment and aesthetics like carpet and whatnot, and on a reoccurring basis. And it'll help for budget and that sort of stuff. So that's it. Any questions?
You mentioned in the beginning, almost all met, except for something minor.
Yeah, it's the minor.
Something we should keep our eye on, whatever?
Oh, no. And honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. Their standards, they've got a long list of standards. And, dealing with being part-time and, there's just certain things that are more important than others. And I've made sure that we've hit all the inspections that we had to and things like that. So, hopefully down the line, we'll be able to incorporate that as things go on, as the workload lessens, let's put it that way.
Okay. Going back on?
I'm going to head back up. So because Brian Robertson isn't here, I'm going to also take the collection management chapter. And I can say we meet the Illinois standards for collection management. The first one, we do have collection management policies for both the library and the archives. And unlike the policy refresh or cycle of 3 years, for collection management, we do it every 2 years. And most recently, you all passed the most recent versions of the policies in September 2023. So very recent, and we're good for another 2 years where that's concerned. And then we do have a combination of physical and digital materials, all you can see there. And for the e-resources, that includes ebooks, e-audiobooks, and streaming. And then, of course, Rob will be talking to you more about that next month. Database of special collections, and of course, our extensive local history resources. In addition to the public access catalog, which we keep up to date, we have a very robust interlibrary loan program. Our materials are in quite high demand, both within the state and around the country. And the standard in the standards, it recommends that the library spend between 8 and 12% of their budget on collections, and we are at 12% for materials only, so we are right on track. Any questions I can answer about collection management? Okay. Done and done.
So we got one more,
I do?
building project.
Well, I was gonna do that for my seat.
So-
I don't like the podium. So Mike mentioned kind of where we're at with the air handler. And so it's my understanding that the contractor, Davis Hauck, has sent mechanical submittals in to the engineering firm. They need to be reviewed and make sure that everything that they're preparing to buy is going to meet the standards that were set out by the engineering firm. And then once those are approved, they can buy the air handler and any other equipment that's needed. So once that's ordered, that's when we get into our big waiting game in terms of when it can be delivered and installed. So in future months, as we get a better idea of timeline, I'll be able to report back. But right now, we don't have one because it's not ordered yet. But it's still good progress.
We told them to go ahead and do the split system as soon as they could, and those submittals got approved, so.
Okay, good deal.
But they haven't given a timeline for that one yet.
No, it's the delivery at this point. I don't think you can run down the Lowe's and pull one off the shelf.
And then just a little bit more about the board packet. So the draft that you have, we wanted to give you lots of time because it's so big Joe Huberty, the architect that we work with at Engberg Anderson, he's planning to zoom in and have a brief presentation for you all at the January meeting. Once you've had a chance to look at it and answer any questions that you might have. I wanted to mention that it is a draft and that I am going to be doing a read-through at the same time you all are. So hopefully catching little things like typos or inconsistencies or even formatting problems. So as you're doing your review, don't worry about any of the small stuff. I'll take care of that and hopefully get it in a very presentable, not that it doesn't look professional now, but we don't want typos in the building program.
200 and how many pages?
216, but it's a lot of tables. It's not text heavy.
It's heavy.
I just have so much
I'm already
It's heavy, it's not
policy
text heavy.
reading stuff to
Yeah.
do. And it's like, when am I gonna find time for that? Okay.
Yeah, it's, you can get as involved in it as you would like. There's a lot of numbers, and one thing about this format that's great is it is so tabular. It's a lot easier to skim and get to exactly the information you want as opposed to the previous format, which I think was a little harder to find what you were looking for. But if you just stick to the summary and the high-level stuff, that works too. But I just wanted you all to know, don't worry about the small stuff, because I'll be doing that read-through.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my update of the building. And then hopefully, once Joe does the presentation in January, and then you all can pass it in February. I'm not sure, I mean, I guess they could pass it in January, but we don't want to, like,
It depends.
I think
It
the
depends.
original-
If you're
I think the
ready,
original
we can
plan
pass
was
it.
to have another time period to talk about it after he presents it, correct?
Right.
yeah.
This month, getting it to a month early is in respect for your time, and a lot of people celebrate holidays. We want to make sure that you've got ample time to, no, not the battery.
Calls for battery change.
Just, it's blinking out earlier.
One of those minor things you could let him know, the university was founded in 1867, not 57.
Okay.
It jumped off the page at me.
You even noticed the university mentioned.
Fred! I did not fact check that one, to be honest. I will get it fixed.
Seventeen. Just longevity, why not? Why not?
How far did you go to Harvard?
16 years. Not getting into that battle. All right, moving on to our action items. First up is the consent agenda. Is there any request to separate something out of there? Hearing none, is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'd like to move to pass action items on the consent agenda.
Sherry's motion, a second. And Brandon second. I will read through there real quick. Board meeting, we're approving in that consent agenda, board meeting minutes of November 14th, 2023, payroll for November 17th, 2023, totaling $117,200.15. Payroll for December 1st, 2023, totaling $114,980.32. Bills for November 17th, 2023, totaling $22,268.14. Bills for November 30th, 2023, totaling $27,506.31, and bills for December 8th, 2023, totaling $19,616.25. Any discussion therein? I did have one question on it myself, which was, I seem to have inadvertently taken up the cudgel of checking on our regular power bill. I got so used to hearing about it. I actually didn't see mention of Constellation in there.
It was less than 10,000.
No, but I know it's not separated out because of that, but I didn't notice it inside the bills as well.
I know.
I even did a specific search for Constellation and for our account number to make sure that I hadn't just overlooked it.
No, I have to look.
Sorry.
I do remember seeing it, though. It's in the 8,000s, I thought.
Okay. That would make sense. That's what it was the prior month. I just was wondering if I was crazy in having skipped past it.
There it is. It's on the 11/30/2023. And it's on page 4.
That was nice and early.
And it was less than. There it is. Okay. That's wonderful. That's all I can say. We usually have to separate it out.
You want me to show you the paper copy?
Hang on. Thought I was finding it, but I didn't yet.
Here. Is it okay if I just,
There you go. Sure.
that's the check on 3.
It takes so long to scroll through this.
That's why I have paper.
Yeah, normally it would be so sluggish.
Yeah, out of impact.
Exactly why I prefer paper.
Man, I don't blame you on that one. I just totally, did something else change in there? Because that is not on my page 4.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's page 4 on that physical handout. I'm sorry. I don't know what the PDF, I don't have my computer.
Because I have, okay.
Yeah, I'm not even finding the 11:30.
11/30/2023.
Did it not
Accounts
make the
payable,
website?
check, run report.
Okay.
I just wonder, yeah, if that got
I will double check the website
left
and
off
make sure
of
that
this
things
one.
got put in there properly. When we
Yeah,
get back.
I'm not seeing that.
Okay, I will, so it's 11:31 that is.
Well, I've got my print copy with Daniel. Does anyone want to flip through it?
Yeah,
and take a
mine
look?
goes, I have the 1117 one and I have the 1208, but I do not have that one.
I'm seeing too.
So yeah, it's not in the digital one, that's why.
Okay.
Good catch. Thank you. Do you want to take a look at the paper copy?
No, that makes sense. I'm satisfied. All right. Any other questions regarding it? Sorry, I sent us down that tangent, but.
No, that's,
No,
I will,
it's-
yeah, exactly,
We're-
catching that, we'll fix it, yeah.
All right. In that case, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda is passed. We move on to our individual items, and first up, 8.1, the resolution to thank Brian Robertson for his service. And I'll go ahead and read through this one first, because it's a doozy of a career there. Resolution to thank Brian Robinson for his service, whereas beginning in 1998, Brian Robertson has diligently served the Urbana community by working at the Urbana Free Library as a circulation clerk, cataloging clerk, acquisitions manager, and collections manager. And whereas the library has thrived and expanded with Brian playing a role in that success, and whereas over the years, Brian has enhanced library services by providing excellent customer service at the circulation desk, quickly learning copy cataloging and getting AV items out on the shelves much faster, working closely with the reference departments to build a stronger and easier to find AV collection, launching and promoting the vinyl collection and Library of Things. And whereas Brian has proven to be an invaluable asset to the library by working with a variety of software programs to understand, troubleshoot, and teach other staff, brainstorming and problem-solving multitudes of issues as they arose, assisting with moving the AV collections from behind the desk to out on the floor to provide better patron access, hanging miles of plastic sheeting to protect staff at the beginning of the pandemic, helping staff navigate the reorganized workflow of the front of the house and back of house model, and being a source of institutional knowledge for new and experienced staff as a result of his longevity and work in different departments. And whereas Brian has earned the admiration and respect of his colleagues for his helpfulness, knowledge, dedication, enthusiasm, hard work, flexibility, sense of humor, out-of-the-box thinking, and whereas Brian has decided to resign, now therefore be it resolved that the Urbana Free Library Board of Trustees, Urbana, Illinois, does hereby extend to Brian its sincere thanks and appreciation for a job well done, and wishes him a most rewarding and enjoyable next phase of life. I'm sure many of us have familiarity with a number of things that have mentioned on there. Can't state enough the importance of everything that Brian has helped do here. The library of things jumps out at me because there's no shortage of people I know that whenever that gets mentioned, the things that we offer here at the library beyond your typical books usually surprises and delights so many people that find out about that. So for his contribution in that and many other things. Is there a motion to approve said
I
resolution?
move to approve this fine resolution.
A second.
Beth and Sharice, thank you much. All in favor of approval, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, resolution 2023-16 to thank Brian Robertson for his service. Please go back. All right, 8.2, this is to update the leave policy and to make sure that I am on the same page as this. This is updating this to, I know we did this just a couple months ago as well, but the state has added a few more complications in there, so make sure that we're staying within the legal framework of state policies. Motion to approve the updated leave policy. Rob, any second? Second. And Brandon, any discussion? All right. Hearing none, all in favor of updating the leave policy, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, new policy is passed. 8.3, library collection management policy. This is another one that was very recent, just very recently. Making sure that the only thing that I know of, it's basically changing ALA's adheres to adopts their actual Bill of Rights, correct?
Yes, the IHLS, when they were talking about, you know, to apply for state grants now, you have to also submit your collection management policy that says you adopt the ALA Bill of Rights.
They didn't like
And
our
all the things.
previous language.
So it's very close, but we figured since they used the word adopt about 10 times in their little presentation, we thought we would just adopt.
Adopt. I like it. All right. Is there a motion to approve the updating of the library collection management policy?
I move to
Adopted.
yeah.
Sure.
To adopt it.
Sharice and Beth. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that is adopted. 8.4. Adopt, yeah. We'll say it a couple more times too, right?
Adopt.
8.4, leave time available for COVID-19 related absences. Is there a motion to accept that policy?
So moved.
Beth, and a second?
So seconded.
And Sharice. Any discussion related to said policy?
I do want to say this. I think as long, I just recently, my mother and I just recently got over COVID. And it took a while, even though neither one of us got really sick. I mean, well, she did, but I didn't. But I think this is going to be a bear for the rest of our lives. So I think it's smart for us to get ahead of it, like we are doing, because it seems to glide in and out and in and out. Unlike other viruses, you know, the flu doesn't even act like this. So I think it's good for us to ahead of it and try to stay ahead of it while we can, as long as we can.
And I want to thank the board for your generosity. This is not, it is not a policy, it is a board-approved thing. We don't call it a policy. We've been doing this since the federal government mandated some paid leave for people, and you, the board, continued on with it. And in the past 6 weeks, 5 weeks, we've had 7 people out with COVID. And we are happy that they're able to be paid to be home and not sick at work, and not feel that they have to be sick at work. It's a generous thing to do that makes it better for everyone, and staff really appreciate this opportunity, so thank you for that.
Yeah, and
Because then
I
they
want
can
to
use
say,
their other sick leave for other sickness.
right, because the other thing is that when COVID hit, I remember the discussion that we had too was how we would handle stuff with staff. And our recommendation seemed to be pay people to stay home, especially when we had to close everything down, because I know I felt very strongly that the biggest problem after things got back to where it was going to be was trying to restaff any place that just like closed the doors and didn't do that. They've had a heck of a time trying to, even places like McDonald's, Burger King, they've had a heck of a time trying to get staffing. And I think that us staying, just kind of staying the course and paying people what they would have been making had the library been open or so on and so forth, made a huge difference in us keeping staff as well. We didn't have to go on any wild goose chase trying to find anybody to just put a book up, And I think I think we stayed ahead of this particular issue, and I like that we're keeping it going. So, okay, that's all I said.
Appreciate the compliment. Anybody else? All right. Have a motion and a second. All in favor of keeping that policy in place there, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that stays. And lastly, 8.5, retiring the 3D printing service policy. Is there a motion on that one?
Now, why are we retiring it?
I got questions.
Okay, I'll move to.
Move first.
All right, Sharice and Beth and
Now
discussion, your question there.
So in the explanation provided in the packet, it said that there was a replacement. You basically evaluated the cost of repairs, determined that it would be more cost effective to replace, but then also determined that the demand was not such that it was worth it.
Yes.
I have observed that every time I'm on the second floor, that thing is moving, which might just be the same person bringing stuff up. But I was wondering if you could provide any statistics about any numbers on that.
So it's an operational decision, and the management team that are responsible for this looked at all the different factors, how much it costs for a staff person to run that
Yeah.
versus were we ever making any money on it, question mark? So, and how much money was that or not? And so the decision was made looking at the return on investment and the availability of 3D printing elsewhere in the community. Also in the Teen Open Lab, we do have 3D printing options for people as well. And we do intend to have some more of the programs for young people where they have options to play with the Teen Open Lab equipment and get to use it, so that there will be some availability to do that. But as far as the service that we offer and the staff time it takes, it was determined that it wasn't overall worth it for the library.
It's not very cost efficient, is that the?
Well, if it's picking a number of thousands of dollars to buy the new equipment, you have to make enough profit over a period of time to earn that back. Otherwise, you're losing money, as well as, again, the staff time that goes into it. That staff person could be doing other things to serve the community. It runs because it takes a long time to print anything.
And I also noticed that a lot of times I get there is print the same thing I saw it printed 5 days previous, so that's what led to my comment about maybe it's the same person.
Could be, someone's printing a
There's a lot
chest
of
set
times
piece
you
by
get an error
piece.
somewhere.
Well, there's
You
also
have to start
that,
over.
like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of ruined runs and things. But yeah, I knew there was a cost. I projected to,
Be self-supporting.
well, yeah, I figured it was at least self-supporting, but, and it's not making that,
So there's, again, a number of factors that we looked at.
Of
And
course.
the good news is, it's easy enough to, if we decide to offer that service again, to come back to you. We bought a new printer. Would you like to approve a new policy? And that can be, if it's a demand by our patrons, we can re-add the service if it looks like it is a thing that overall is in the best interest of the library.
At this time, are we at all charging patrons to 3D print?
No, we stopped the service. The 3D printer is broken,
Okay.
so there is no service available, and we're
Well,
not
before
fixing it
did
or
we-
replacing it.
I'm just mean, before did we charge them?
Yeah, we did before, yes.
Okay, so, what was the cost of that?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, because it was based on factors.
Okay.
How much
much
going to
filament?
be used, how much filament, and the time.
Time.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I believe it was some hourly rate of some kind. It was very low, so,
Okay.
And as Celeste mentioned though, and I know because I've seen it being used down here in this very room before, we do still have them in the building for, I think, what is probably the most common audience for it, the teens that are developing it and utilizing it in the open lab, which that one will continue to go on.
so we had that one that was available for all patrons, but we have additional 3D printers that are used for the open lab.
Right.
Yes.
So if it's somebody that's not here using that, as was mentioned, it would be more redirecting them to other sources in the community, the Fab Lab, the Maker Lab, et cetera, the ones that are around campus.
I just know one concern I would have is that our availability is a lot more open in terms of hours than some of those facilities, but yeah, like Celeste is saying, if the patrons all start sending emails like, hey, where's the 3D printer? It could be something we could consider.
And there is a recommendation within these hefty pages for a dedicated makerspace within this, actually, within this room, I believe.
That was the other thing I noticed, is like, we have a makerspace, you gotta have 3D printers, like, you have a kitchen without a.
Once we have our dedicated space for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments regarding that one? All right. All in favor of retiring that service temporarily? Say aye.
Well, you're not voting on retiring the
Or-
service, you're retiring the policy.
Retiring
The
the
service
policy
has been
for it.
closed, just to be clear.
Okay.
The policy's being retired because there ain't no service.
That's correct.
Exactly. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, that is passed. And that walks us out of our action items, and we'll go to 10, to the liaison officer reports. Liz, are you still with us?
Yes, sorry.
No problem. Any word from the friends?
So, yeah, so the last time I saw them, we had a book sale, and I don't know how it compared to previous ones because it was my first, but it seemed to go really well. They raised $3,233, and so at this point, they're not meeting next month as in between sales, but I think it went really well.
Wonderful. For the foundation, their 2024 annual campaign has already kicked off, as y'all know. Right now, well, not right now, but as of November 29th, which is the last number that I have, they had raised $24,000, which is almost a quarter of the way toward that goal of $100,000. That is coming from a total of 94 donors out of hoping to bump up their number of donors to 430, so they're over 20% of the way on that one as well. For those that are interested, they are of course still taking money wherever they can, so if anyone would like to jump on that bandwagon as well. They also have implemented the new Boomerang donor system. I know the company had helped them transfer everything over. They were in the process of doing data validation, but to the best of my knowledge, that system is up and running. They are currently utilizing it right now, so that is working out to be quite great. And the last thing I'll mention on there is there was some discussion of the Cherry Alley pavers in our last meeting there. There are like something in the neighborhood of 1,600 pavers out there. About 780 of them have been purchased, about 900 left to go. And they're trying to start a push to sell the remainder of those. Trying to, I think, get those out there. I don't know if the goal was, I believe, with the 150th anniversary of the library, to try to have those done. And those are $150 a piece, so last minute holiday gift, just throw it out there. Memorialize somebody forever on the walkway of the library. All right. Rob, anything from the IHLS?
Yeah, a few things. They did make a call in their member newsletter in general to join a regional response team for censorship. I know in this area, thankfully, we don't have as many issues with library censorship. They did expressly say they are looking for people to volunteer for regional response teams for censorship in Southern Illinois. So if you all know anybody in that area, let me know and who'd be interested in such a thing. And I can provide a link to register for that to join a team down there. As I think the board was notified by Celeste over email, Member Day 2024 is on February 8th, 2024. It is all virtual, I think 8 to 4:30, something like that. If you need to sign up, I do have a QR code I've generated here, so come on over and scan my computer and be on your way. And my understanding is if you register early bird before January 7th, you'll get a free cozy beverage to enjoy during Member Day. And I'm not sure where that beverage is meant to come from, but I'm not gonna ask. But yeah.
The last time I did it, they had cookies and they mailed them to you, so maybe you get a cookie in the mail, I don't know.
The beverage warm in the mail. That's my question. I mean, I need to do the refrigerated stuff.
I don't think I've ever done a member day.
Yeah, well, here's your opportunity. So it will be stuff for trustees galore in addition to the trustee portal they've been working on. I know this is expressly targeting us and they're really wanting us all to sign up. So if you have not done so already, sign up. We can all hang out on February 8th. That'll be great. Automated material handling system update. Dawn pointed this one out to me because I totally missed it in the email they'd sent out. But one thing that I know that our library's been keeping our finger on the pulse on is whether IHLS will adopt some sort of policy about automated material handling. It seems they are not necessarily making a formal decision on exact barcode placement. We use RFID in place of optically scanned barcodes. So one good piece of news here is that they've said that if you've already got RFID tags in place on the inside of the materials, you don't need to re-barcode them. They can stay where they are. I was a little surprised to hear that they are expecting people to put things on the outside if they're not already barcoded. So I think that would introduce a lot of additional wear and tear with the RFID tags. But apparently, since we are grandfathered in, we are okay. So that's the news I've got from IHLS this month. Thank you to everybody who, thanks for Celeste for letting me know Member Day, thanks for Dawn for letting me know about the AMHs.
Any administrative reports?
I have thank yous, because you have heard that Brian Robertson resigned to try new opportunities, and Rachel mentioned, or we mentioned that Kirsten, who's in charge of communications and development, is doing something new. And so picking up the load while we also hire for a new person, and the new archives manager started
Tomorrow.
Starts
Monday.
tomorrow.
We'll be on site.
We'll be on site tomorrow. So Dawn and Rachel have really been carrying heavy loads in the time of managers being out. It's a good 3-month process minimum to hire a new staff person, generally a full-time benefited person, let alone a manager. So it's a lot, and then you have to train the person to make sure that they're brought into the library and feel very welcome for all members of staff. But when they're managing other people, we take extra special time, and so it's a lot. It's been a lot, and they are doing a phenomenal job, and I want to recognize the work and of our colleagues throughout the departments who are pitching in to help as well. So for example, Gretchen has picked up some work with Brian leaving because some of the staff he supervises now, she used to supervise. And she also has a staff of 25 people. So it's a lot. So we are doing a great job, and I just want to recognize the phenomenal work of my colleagues. That's my administrative report. So yes.
I don't know if this is necessarily a report, but I wanted to just make all of you aware that, once again, the state of Illinois asks that we train all of our employees every year on harassment and discrimination. And so we have an online module that we assign to staff that they complete annually. And so we thought it would be also a good idea to give you all the opportunity to take the training as well. So that is coming up due at December 31st. So if hopefully if you log into your TUFL email, you would have gotten a reminder email from GB Risk Portal that would include a link that goes right to the training. So I just wanted to mention that it was out there, and December 31st is coming quickly.
And it was about probably 40 minutes-ish, maybe a little bit more. And you can't speed ahead, but it's all reasonable.
It's not that you're trying.
Extremely informative.
Yeah.
Extremely
Yeah.
informative. It took me, the first time I did it, I kind of missed it the second time. But anyway, the first time I did it took me a couple of hours because I did.
You're reading and clicking all the
I
way
paused
up.
it to take notes.
Yeah.
And I took like all these notes, and then I like sent an email saying, "I'm so sorry to anybody that," because
Yeah.
you don't realize just some things here and there, you know. And it's like, oh, oops, okay. But it's extremely informative, and it definitely made me more aware, you know, of certain things that I really wasn't even aware of, and so it's a good lesson.
And something you will see annually.
Yeah.
Speaking of annual things, moving on to board and committee reports, a number of people have not been here for the annual evaluation of our executive director. So Beth was going to highlight a few key points in that process so people know what's coming up.
I think right now Sharice is probably the only veteran of this annual evaluation process, and it's pretty straightforward. There are a couple steps and a couple order of the steps. Celeste is going to provide us with her self-evaluation summary of everything she's done over the past year. Once we have that, then I'm going to send out a questionnaire, and there are two questionnaires. There's one set of questions for board members, and then there's a second questionnaire that has a set of questions for the administrative staff. And over the years, we kind of refined this and simplified it a little bit, so it's more of a reading questionnaire and your ability to write comments if you wish. This questionnaire and Celeste's self-evaluation is going to come to you in your library email. So it'd be wanting to check that. And then the preferred option is if you fill it out online, and the instructions will be you'll send back for me. If you don't want to fill it out online, then make arrangements with Becky to have a physical copy or hand your copy back to Becky. And then she scans it, and then at that point, I will collect the information, summarize them all, and anonymize them in a sense that I just do for myself. And then we will have a closed session meeting where we will discuss the summary. And then after we have our closed discussion, this is also a meeting that serves for us to first invite Celeste and give her the summary of her evaluation, and then we just talk about what areas of focus that we would work with Celeste on for the coming year. So it's pretty straightforward. Now, timing-wise, we usually, Celeste gets her evaluation to us maybe sometime within the next month, I'd say. And then there's usually maybe a 2-week turnaround time for getting the evaluation done. And we may or may not have we'll probably be having the closed session. I'm guessing it could be for the January meeting. It might be for the February meeting depending on the timing of it all. And, go ahead.
With all the stuff that we are crammed with at the end of the year, okay, we've got harassment training, we've got the 216-page, whatever that is. We've got Christmas, we've got New Year's, everybody's got to get over that hangover. And then we've got the evaluation. Okay, can we scooch something to March or?
So actually, Sharice, it's kind of, so the timing, we were working backwards for the budget cycle.
Yeah.
Because the evaluation also may result in the board recommending the salary program for Celeste. And we usually have to have all of our budget numbers known by March timeframe. So you have to work back from that. And so usually February at the latest, we have to have our closed session and our discussion.
Because we only have one night a
Yes.
month. I get it, but I didn't think it would hurt to ask all you can say is no.
There are hard deadlines, it's budget driven
Right.
with the budget.
It's just a
Yes.
lot of,
Good.
I think this is an unusual year that
Every
we
year's
have
been
these,
unusual.
we have a lot of reading. But we made this lighter weight
okay.
over the
Yeah,
years.
that's true, that's true.
And-
When I think about the first time, and I was confused about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just thought maybe, considering like all of this 216-page thing about, it's just like, okay. My brain is already exploding.
I mean, they're all very important things, but this is.
I know.
And
It's
as
all
part of our
important.
duty as a board, one of our duties is to evaluate the executive director.
Okie dokie. Just thought I'd ask.
Anyone have any questions?
If you divide that 216 pages before our next meeting, I've covered the 7.71 pages a day. It's doable. We'll get into the wall.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll finish wrapping this up and get you more time to read. So I don't have anything else as a presidential report. Is there any unfinished business? Any surprise new business? Well then, we'll have a motion to adjourn. Brandon? And Rob, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I don't hear any no's, so we are adjourned.
Okie dokie.
Right.